Many students struggled with the Lesson 5 lab assignment. In Lesson 6, you're going to be constructing sampling distributions. Many of those sampling distributions will follow a normal distribution. So I want to go back to the Lesson 5 lab assignment and do question 4 with you to make sure that you can work with the normal distribution in Minitab Express before you move on to Lesson 6, where you're going to be applying the normal distribution. So in this case, we have a standardized test, so it's a normal distribution, with a mean of 50 and a standard deviation of 10. In part A, we want to know what test score separates the top 5% of scores from the bottom 95% of scores. So I'm going to go to Minitab Express and construct a probability distribution plot to display a probability. We have a normal distribution with a mean of 50 and a standard deviation of 10. We want to know the probability, so we have a specified probability that separates the top 5% from the bottom 95%. There's two different ways that you could do this. You could look for 95% in the left tail, or what I'm going to do is the default, and that is putting 5% in the right tail. This will give us a probability distribution plot, and we can see that the shaded region is 0.05. So in this plot, we have the top 5% versus the bottom 95%. And the score that separates the top 5% is 66.4485. For question B, what two test scores separate the middle 95% of scores from the outer 5% of scores? So again, we'll construct a probability distribution plot. Again, there's two different ways you can do this. I'm going to say that we have 5% split equally between the two tails. You could also use the middle option and put 2.5% on each side. Either way, you'll end up with the same distribution plot. You have 2.5% on the right, 2.5% on the left, so a total of 5% on the outside, 95% on the inside. The two scores that are our boundaries, on the lower bound, we have 30.4004, and the upper bound, 69.5996. Question C, if you scored better than 88% of test takers, what was your score? So if you scored better than 88% of test takers, you've essentially scored in the 88th percentile. That means that 88% of people are less than you or to the left of you. So the 88th percentile is a score of 61.7499. And the last question, what percentile is a score of 44? So this question is a little bit different. In A through B, you were given a percent. Now you're given a score. So we're still going to construct a probability distribution plot, but this time we're not given a specific probability, we're given a specific x value, and that is x equals 44. The percentile is the percent of scores below that score, or in the left tail. So the percent of scores less than 44 is 0.274253. In other words, you've scored in the 28th percentile.